Hi, Victor.
Hello, Arnold.
Hi, hi, hi. Thank you for joining. Give me 1 minute, I'll be back as we give people a bit of time to join.
Okay.
Victor,
Hello. Yes.
if I may ask, how long have you been in Cardano?
The past like 5 months.
5 months. Oh, okay. How do you like it so far?
The group is active. I like the engagement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still learning a lot, mostly on the part of
Oh,
blockchain.
okay, okay, okay. So are you interested in chamas or you just come to learn how to build an SDK? What has brought you today?
So I was interested in the FD, but also in the Chama part, because I saw the live demo.
Okay, 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 okay. Welcome, Robert. Thank you for joining. Welcome, Brian. Thank you for joining. So we're giving people a bit more time, about 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we can begin. Welcome to today's Developer Experience Working Group session. My name is Haron Mwangi, and today we will be talking about how to build a production Cardano SDK from validators to DApps. So we will be using one of an open source project called the DCU Toolkit. It's one of my part-time. I've been working on it part-time as a hobby. So just as an introduction, this session continues the off-chain and SDK building track started in session 14. So if you guys have been here before, we have talked about SDK building. Can you guys hear me? Are you able to hear me, guys? Hello? Okay, thank you. So if you guys have been here before, we've talked about how to build an SDK before using payment subscription smart contract and multi-sig smart contract, an upgradable multi-sig smart contract. So those ones, they talked mostly about, yes, the architecture, the things to consider when building design documents and whatnot. But today we are going a step further. So today we are going to talk about something that I think most people, most of you guys know about, which is chamas. And I think it is a very good topic because I find that the idea of cooperative finance is an easy to understand concept and an easy, especially in the terms of blockchain. So the DC Toolkit is an MVP infrastructure for cooperative finance on Cardano. It's still under active development. It has with a demo app, but then that's also integrated. So we cover why this product exists, how the three layers fit together, and what it takes to ship an SDK that other developers can actually build on. So on Cardano, application builds the transaction, the validator only says yes or no. Smart contracts here are not running programs that hold your logic. They are pure functions that approve or reject a state transition. Everything in this session, the SDK, the endpoints, and the UI is layers of convenience around that one idea. If you keep this mental model, the rest of the ecosystem stops being confusing. So a brief introduction about how society save and where trust breaks. So long before formal banking reached most of the world, communities built their own financial infrastructure. Rotating savings groups known as chamas in East Africa, tontines in West Africa, susu in Ghana and in the Caribbean, cheat funds in India, hui in China, and standards in Latin America. This is not a niche according to the World Bank's global Findex data. 419 million adults worldwide still semi-formally in small groups. And the model is the subject of an extensive academic literature precisely because it works so well at community scale. These systems run on social trust. And when that trust breaks, the people who lose are those least able to absorb the loss. The pattern is documented on every continent. Forensic audit on a national cooperative umbrella body in Kenya. If you guys know about the Cusco scandal. The Sarad collapse in India. It's still like the child is still going on. So central bank intervention and state repayment programs in Ghana, frozen accounts for millions in Nigeria. These are mentioned not to dwell on any institution, but because they share one shape with the case that is never reported anywhere. The group treasurer who quietly disappears with the pot, the same structural failure of funds held by a trusted intermediary with no enforceable rules. So the DCU's toolkit is an experiment of what happens when the treasurer becomes a validator, or the validator is the treasurer. So how the experiment encodes each failure model as a validator check. What goes wrong today and what the toolkit encodes. So the main issues with traditional chamas, circles, and cooperative financial societies or circles. Hi, Bernard. How are you?
Fine. Greetings, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for joining, Bernard. And by the way, guys, feel free to stop me at any time. This is not supposed to be a monologue. I'm here to answer any questions you might have, whether on development or on the project itself. And also wider Cardano questions if you have any. Not restricted to this topic in particular. This session is supposed to be about integrating people into the community, as well as learning and growing and sharing our experiences and our skills. So where was I? So what happens wrong today in traditional chamas is mostly the treasurer absconds with the funds. The organizers can rug pull the group, members default mid-cycle, and fake identities. Well, this is mostly for in a decentralized place, or maybe in a circle where people do not produce like their KYC information. So treasurer absconding. So how does the smart contract help? Like for the issue of treasurers running away with the pot, funds are locked in a treasury UTXO and payouts are enforced by the validator. So in this particular design, we have a creator bond, which can be forfeited if the group is deleted while members are active, or it can be distributed to the members if there is anyone who is at a risk of losing funds. There are collateral rounds like locked at join, pro rata pots, that means like ongoing, so the cycle never stalls. And CIP68 membership token pairs. This is not bulletproof. It's just a placeholder for when maybe there's something like KYC and you want to track the identities on chain, but preferably should be ZK proofed so that the identity is not seen on the blockchain. So why did we choose blockchain and why Cardano? The fair question every developer should ask is why not just a database and an auditor? Why? So the existing fixes fail because regulation and audits are post hoc, like they happen after the regulation will only come after people have already lost funds. In the cases above, the institutions were regulated, audited, or both. The forensic findings arrived after the money was already gone. An app with a database relocates trust, it does not remove it. So if we were to make, let's say, DCU with a normal database, it just means now with that we have become the treasurers. So you still it's still centralized. That means if the website or the database goes down, there are people who might lose funds, or we could just close it down and escape with the funds, and you guys would probably not have the records of your contributions if you were not tracking them by yourselves. So mobile money solves payments, not custody. Mobile money rails move funds brilliantly, but the group spot still sits under the control of a person, and the group's rules still live in their heads. What blockchain changes is the category of guarantee, custody without a custodian, and rules enforced before the fact instead of audited after it. The validator is the audit, and it runs before every transaction instead of after the collapse. Add a transparent ledger, no books to cook. Every member can verify every contribution and payout. And programmable penalties, bonds, and collateral applied impartially with no committee meeting. And the trusted intermediary failure mode is removed rather than mitigated. Whether that holds up in real communities with real usability constraints is exactly what the experiment is for. So currently, we are not sure that even this solution will solve, but then at least we know it will solve everything, because I don't think there's one solution that can solve everything, but then we can get much closer to a solution. For instance, in this one situation that's a bit tricky to handle is the case of one party or the first person who's being paid walking away with the funds. That's a bit tricky to handle. But now you would have now maybe a situation where the creator can take responsibility or the community itself can take responsibility for the loss of funds, which is not perfect or ideal. But there could also be small measures that could be hindrances, such as credit scores or recording how people perform within certain groups. So why Cardano specifically? Because of the deterministic EUTXO model. A transaction's outcome is known before submission. I think if you guys are in Cardano, you all know that. It has local state, not global state. Each group's treasury is its own UTXO. Groups validate independently and in parallel with no shared global state to contend over or corrupt. Predictable low fees. Fees are calculated in advance and small relative to contribution size, which is what makes micro savings group viable on chain at all. Membership native asset CIP68. Membership and group identities are ledger native tokens, not balances inside a contract that itself must be trusted. Validators are pure functions. The on-chain code cannot do anything. It only approves or rejects. A minimal attack surface for the code and guards other people's savings. And it is exactly the mental model this session anchors on. Open source by default. The validators, the SDK, and the spec are public and verifiable. A community does not have to trust the toolkit's authors any more than its treasurer. So this project is open source. I have to say it's still under development. So the hope will be to probably have it audited after our first MVP and after we've tested it and verified the model with actual chamas here locally or with anyone who'd want to try. And also this SDK is public for anyone who would want to create their own user interface for their own chama or their own platform or their own chama platform where people can come and create chamas. So what is a ROSCA? A ROSCA, Rotating Service and Credit Association, is a fixed group of members each contribute the same amount per cycle, and each cycle one member receives the entire pooled pot, rotating until everyone has been paid exactly once. So the on-chain mapping members lock ADA into a treasury UTXO when they join. The current implementation does not limit it only to ADA. It's any Cardano native token, including stable coins. Intervals advance on a fixed schedule encoded in the group data. Payouts go to members who assign slots matches the current interval enforced by the treasury validator. So the treasury validator is the one that enforces everything. As we'll see in the architecture, we have other supporting validators to accompany them. So with the architecture, yes, this is where now the web app will sit. Example CLI scripts, which are the example CLI scripts come with in the repository. So you can immediately just go and start running the examples and they should work. I'll share the links to the repo after the session, and they will also be linked in this session 20 of our developer experience website. So that's the application layer. The middle layer, it has 17 transaction builder endpoints that communicate directly with the validator, written in TypeScript, of course. The program runner is just it's a tool to help you when developing, depending on how specific you want your results to be and how you want to structure your debugging. Basically, it's to give you as the developer more control with how you want to architect your library. We're using the Lucid Evolution for transaction building at the moment, and also the emulator for simple transaction executions. So other than the treasury that we've spoken about, we also have the group and the account These two are support this. The account is, like we said, is for creating an account within the system. The group is for creating the group and controlling the groups and the funds, and updating the groups when situations changes, like cycles change and the person who is supposed to receive the funds changes. The treasury now just controls who receives the funds and when funds are locked and when payouts are given. Settings is a protocol parameter that helps bundle these validators because they are pretty big. So we had to deploy the scripts as reference scripts so that they can be able to be read on the blockchain without exceeding the transaction execution limits. So this section will mostly focus on the middle layer, mostly this part. And I'll try to hurry up so that at least I can show you at least even if it's one transaction. So the on-chain brief, like I said, CIP68 NFTs. We have a whole session on CIP68 NFTs. That will be our last session for last quarter. It will teach you all about CIP68 NFTs and how to implement it. So in this case, we use them for authentication tracking. Let's say who's the user of this account. It's a nice to have. Right now, it's literally more of or less of a placeholder for when we have like ZK-proofed authentication or KYC. So the reference NFT, for those who don't know, as a brief, usually is locked in the validator so that it can track the particular UTXO, and it holds the datetime that the contract can read. So the user of NFT, it usually has this value to prefix it. It stays now in your wallet, in your decentralized wallet, and it proves ownership and authorizes transactions. Does anyone have questions so far, or any comments, or anything they'd like to add? Okay. So in the protocol, both are minted automatically. At validation time, the contract reads the reference datum and checks that you hold the auth token without ever taking it from your wallet. The same pattern covers groups. The group reference NFT lives at the group validator, and the group auth NFT is admin authority. So the validators, we have the account validator, the group validator, the treasury validator, settings validator, and the always fails is where now we store our reference NFTs, our deployed reference scripts, because no one can ever remove them from an always fail script. So it's a nice place to save things you want to store in perpetuity forever. It's used to permanently lock deployed reference scripts. Yep. Like I said, this is just a good to have to help you like the program runner. It's in the repo. I'll show you briefly. So what it just does, how it affects how you would interact with the SDK is, if you're calling a function, let's say create account, and use the .unsafe run, it's just like it's mostly just for quick tooling, and if you want to run also scripts, just for very quick, for getting up and running real quick without breaking anything or triggering any errors that would stop your running. So this with safe run returns an either or a never for those who know about functional programming. So it's mostly for direct production UIs. This is mostly what I'm using in my demo UI. So the raw effect composition, this is mostly for people using effect, and it also allows you using normal JavaScript or TypeScript to compose your own pipelines. So why did we choose to use effect instead of plain promises? So for financial transactions, failure handling is the product, not an afterthought. There's a 12 error taxonomy. Basically, we have a file, the .errors.ts, that has all the possible errors that we would anticipate for you to encounter at the moment. it will probably grow as we add more and more features. So missing UTXOs are an example, invalid data, insufficient funds. These are all errors we can throw, and they can help you debugging while using our library on your own user interface or on your own front ends. So the anatomy, this is basically how it looks like. We have endpoints, and then we have the core. The core has the errors types, the Plutus.json from the validator. And this is just for querying the validators from the Plutus.json. And then now we have the endpoints that now you'd be interacting with to be able to transact with a fully fledged Chama. So these are not all the endpoints, just some to get the point across. So if you go to the repo, do you guys want me to continue reading this, or do you want me to just jump and show you?
Practicals, I think, so that you have enough time.
Okay. Let me just share the. Let me see if I can see it. DCU toolkit, found it. Okay. So do you want practicals? Here they are. So, like we were saying, here's where you'd find the SDK. The examples are within the SDK, and the source contains now the core logic. This source now contains the entire everything you would need to know now about the protocol. And we have tests that accompany each endpoint. So for the sake of time, let me jump. So for this too, like I said, there are prior workshops where we talk about building SDKs using Anastasia Labs payment subscription and multi-sig contract. So for that, so that as to save time, I'll not take you directly to how we've gone about implementing the tests and the endpoints in particular, but then I can just mention them, just like claim payout or claiming payout for contributing if you choose the contributing path. There's you can create an account, create a group, delete an account, delete a group, distribute the payout, exit the group, extend grace window, join the group. When a cycle ends, you can, as the admin, you can trigger the next cycle to begin with the same instructions you had set when creating the group. You can start a group. The admin is the one who's responsible, or the creator is the one who's responsible for starting a group. You can terminate a defaulter. That means mostly kicking out someone who's failed to contribute if your group has a contributing path. What I'm saying by or that member has chosen the contribute path. What I mean by a contribute path is I've implemented two paths. Like one path is someone who is just helping out in the group and has all the funds can come and contribute to the entire payout, or a multi-month contribution, and then the validator will just be removing from the contract every interval. And the other path is you just contribute what is needed for that month. So you can update an account, and you can also the admin can also update the group with some caveats. So the examples are what are important. So using these examples are just front end sort of, I describe them as scripts that interact with the source or with the endpoints, which is now the SDK itself. They are to help you guys come and test out the endpoints real quick. Like what does say? So for example, we have PNPM create account. I'll just show a few and then jump to the demo so that we can save on time and not stay here for a long time. Yeah. So to do that, you'd have to go into the examples folder. std SDK examples. Yep. Already, okay. No, that is not correct. I'm sorry about that. So if it's your first time interacting with the SDK, at this SDK level, we have to build the you have to build the SDK, which I had already done, and you have to repack the SDK. What this does is it generates our table. This is now for local testing. It generates this table, which is the current version. So this is currently on npm.js, but then this is now for the instance you just want to test it locally without connecting to npm.js. So, or you want to just use these examples. So with this, you'd go to the examples, npm install, so that you can install the dependencies and the new tarball. Normally, I first of all remove the node modules, but then it will work regardless. Then pm build. Now you are ready to start testing. So we can start with a simple create account. Cross fingers. These things always fail at demo. And I'm sure it will, oh, it's on pre-prod. And this is what you are expecting to see. Let me just close this and reduce this and remove this. So this is what you would be expecting to see as the output. It takes a bit of time because, yeah, it has to submit. But the good thing is, and account created, user one successfully created. So this will for this to work, you'd also need to have your environment variables. Not going to scroll down because if I scroll, there are some keys I don't want to share to display here. But then it will include like the test wallet you want to use. Yeah, the test wallets you'd want to use, and the addresses you'd want to test with. So for me, I'm using 3 for the creator and 2 for just members. And in order to be able to test it, it should pick them up automatically. If you go to the repo, you'll see an examples that has like things you can use because it's just an example address. So this I can show because there are just example addresses. So you would replace those with yours. Where were we? Yes. So that's creating. We can go after creating an account, you'd probably need to create a group. There are still a few kinks. For example, with this version, you can create accounts multiple times, but the good thing is that it's on pre-prod. And we're experimenting, so we will take care of that as we continue developing. Same thing, and also maybe so that you guys can see clearly, it also opens directly on pre-prod. Let me share the screen. It's not yet there. And here it is, 4 seconds ago. It has minted 2 NFTs. There are 2 mints. So this should indicate that it has minted a reference NFT and user NFT. If you can remember, one goes to the user, the other one goes to the address. The reference goes to the address. The user NFT goes to the user's wallet. So I could continue on and on, but then I know you guys would like to see a demo, maybe something with a UI. Let me switch something more Give me a second. Let me run this and open it up. I had not opened. 10 p.m. dev. So with this particular one, I had created two groups. This is Gamma. It's just a front end to try and visualize how people might want to interact with this protocol. I don't know if I'm sharing. Okay, you can see. Okay. Yep. So this is the view you get. It would probably be a display of all the protocols that are on the blockchain using our DCU toolkit. I don't know if this will show. Give me 1 minute. Need to be sure everything is correct. Share another screen. Yeah, forgot a privacy thing, so I want to change and use the test wallets. Okay, nice. Maybe share the entire screen. Yeah, share the entire screen. Good. Then go here. So as a visitor, you first of all need to connect your wallet. This is now after you've integrated with your UI. So I'm using Lace. It wants me to select an account. Does this have money? Yep. Let's see. I don't think I've created with this one. Authorize. So I can give it a name, let's say working group DevX working group as a display name, and then maybe if it has Twitter or X handle at DevX. Now here, this is only for demonstration purposes. Of course, a production one won't have to have this. It's just for educational purposes so that you all can visualize what's going on. And as you can see, my list has responded, showing me everything that's happening. Transaction summary, how much it will cost, how much collateral, estimated fee, my address, tokens. So to the address, there'll be 2 tokens. Because we are creating a group, there'll be 2 tokens like we saw on the Explorer. And I can just click confirm. Here's the raw symbol if you want to inspect it, and I can click confirm. Cost security. So it's submitting now. And continue. Sorry, that was just us creating an account. Sorry, it wasn't creating a group, but we do have an account here, DevX working group. My list balance, the reference NFT to inspect. So this is stored on the blockchain, the DevX working group, and the contact. Close. This one has nothing to show. And we are on pre-prod. These are, for now, are just for aesthetic purposes. We're going to fill them up as we go on. But then now that I've joined, I think I can create a group. I can join a group and I can also create a group. What do you guys want to see first? Any preference, or we just go on? Okay, let's create a group. So okay. So in this demo UI, we are calling them circles. You can call them pods. It's your UI, your idea, however you want. So we can call it working group circle. Description, first public DCU, toolkit demo. Members, we can put as many members as we want. I don't know if we'll have the time to test, but then in case we do, let me just put 10 minutes. Yeah, this is for testing. Under normal circumstances, the cycles might be 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, depending on your group's preference. So continue to financials. Here, before you continue, there's a nice summary of everything that's going on, and the default's already set. So you contribute to the cycle. Each cycle dictates 50 ADA. That's the default. We're going to change total to 50. As the creator, I'll have to put in the total for the number of groups. So if you can look here, I don't know if it's, let me just zoom in a bit. You guys can look here. It should change with the number of people in the group. The duration, cycle 7, because of course there are 7 people. Cycle length 10 minutes. Joining fee, I haven't put any. Exit penalty 50. Creator bond to 50. So continue to financials. So here we can put, yeah, we can leave it at 50. 50 is not bad. Leave it at 50. Joining fee, yep, I'm a greedy admin. I want you guys to pay to join my group. So if you exit early, is there a penalty fee? Yeah, maybe a small one. Creator bond, this is the bond. I can change it, but then it's automatically set to the number of cycles, so that in case someone misses a cycle or because of fraudulent behaviors that we might have missed, it can be deducted from this. That's just one path. So push autopay, this is a bit complex. Push autopay just means the admin or anyone in the group has the authority to progress a cycle. Let's say it's my turn in the cycle. We are 3 people. It's my turn, and I refuse to pay, or I refuse to collect, and have not communicated to anyone. I myself can push, and it will immediately automatically go to my address. The admin can click push, and it will immediately go to my address, and anyone in the group can click a button, and it will immediately go to my address. Regardless of what, the funds will go to my address. Now pull, this path is claim. What this means is now instead of it coming automatically to my address, I have to go to the platform and actually withdraw. So for this, I can just put claim. Collateral required per cycle, full upfront. Full upfront is for a situation like, let's say, some form of crowdfunding thing where all of you just want to put all the money upfront, or one person wants to put the money upfront. So for full upfront, it will not prevent this. Full upfront does not mean it prevents per cycle. It just allows for people to be able to put the total amount upfront. So for per cycle, it will just be each and every cycle. full upfront will mean like when you when you chances are like when you deposit, you'll have to deposit. You should deposit all of it. But then the core rule of Cardano validators is you cannot prevent anyone from depositing. So Bicycle is also good. And review what we have put, working group circle, first public DCU toolkit. And after review, a warning here, your cycle will run for 50 minutes in total. That means each cycle gets about 10 minutes. Each member contributes 50 ADA every 10 minutes and receives 250 during their rotation. So each member should receive 250 when it's your turn, and each member should contribute 50 every rotation cycle. So launching, I hope this is visible. So same as before, we have to confirm security and confirm and signing, now we're submitting. Maybe I should do the same thing I did with the examples, have it show the Explorer link here so that you can go and see what's going on your own. So circle launched, view the circle, and here it is, working group circles. Also, I have 2 circles, and now there are 3 circles. We have time. We have some more time. Maybe we can see if, since these are mine, DCU, my DCU group, and working group circle are mine, I can try and join a circle. I can try and join this camera one. It only has 1 member. I'm sure it's not me. I hope this works. Fingers crossed. Same parameters. But the penalty is high for this one. The total pot currently is 50. If I join, it should be 100. I understand my funds will be locked for the duration of the rotation cycle, and an early exit incurs a penalty of 50 ADA. Confirm and join. Yes. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Confirm. Confirm. Ooh. Let's see. An error occurred. Let's see. Okay. Before we do that, I think I should check if it's created or if I did. No, I didn't. Okay. Yeah, it should definitely have a link so that at least someone can be able to track it on the Explorer. Ooh, even if, oh, finally, thank God you're in. You are member 2 in the Kema one. I don't know what that error was, but yeah, like I said, work in progress. So view the circle details. We have 2 members and the total pot is 100. So we don't have time to start the group because now we would need to, I'd need to get the admin for this to be able to start this group because it hasn't. But then the general idea is once the number of members you need have joined, you can, let me go back to mine, working group circle. After I join, I should be able to start the rotation. And after the number of members join, it should be able to start the rotation. If you guys have noticed, when I joined, the pot increased, meaning for every initial join, someone has to, you have to make the initial contribution. So there's no contributing if you do not have at least the initial funds for a cycle. And that is my demo and presentation for the DCU toolkit. Any questions? Comments, suggestions? Yes, Bernard.
Yeah, I just need help and clarity on the multi-sig. This one is using multi-sig. Or it
No,
is multi-sig.
at the moment it is not multi-sig. Yes, but when there'll be issues, let's say like of voting, because it's baked in so that there can be proposals. If there will be proposals and for sensitive issues, there will be a multi-sig. Right now it is biased and a bit centralized because the creator or the admin has more control.
Okay.
So for payout, it's automatic. You're the one who's next in cycle. It's Bernard, myself, and H Pro. If Bernard is number 1 after the first cycle, Bernard can get funds like that automatically. You can go and click, or I can go and click, and you'll get the funds. Anyone can click, and you can get funds. It's permissionless, or rather.
And then the dispute, in case of disputes, because there will be disputes. How do we handle it from China?
So the dispute I'm seeing happening most is failure to contribute. Luckily, someone will have already contributed for the first cycle. The biggest risk is with the first person to receive the funds, them running away with the funds, the first person. For now, I do not have a bulletproof solution, other than maybe having, this is just an idea, work in progress, and you guys are welcome to help me build this out. It's fully open source. I've been doing it by myself so far. So I'm open to people filing issues and suggesting solutions. But then for now, I have the creator bond that acts as a safeguard for the members. So at the moment, the creator is the one who is would be penalized, including now maybe the first contribution you made. Other versions I've been thinking about is if the whole group decides or agrees to, in case one of the member defaults, they can repay equally. It can be taken from each person's pot equally so that everyone feels the same pain and not only one member, let's say, gets less contributions. Another idea I'm thinking about is a guarantor model, where now I can say this person will guarantee my take. And just to be clear, this is just an MVP, the very first version. The idea is to have different groups having different models. Some will want to give interests. Right now, there's no interest. Right now, it's just to give the full pot. Others will want to crowdsource, to just do crowdfunding. Yep. But then it's a good tool now to see how because chamas is something I feel, or cooperative societies is something I feel like many people are aware of. The repository is open source and it's something good that you can use to learn how validators work and how to make a production ready SDK. So guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope this session was worth your time. Again, my name is Haron Mwangi from the Developer Advocate Program out of the Open Source Office from Inter MBO. We usually have these sessions every week. Next week it will be on Wednesday with someone else. And then the other week again, it will be on Thursday at this time. We are open for one-on-one sessions for people who want to know more about Cardano development, who want to know how to contribute, who want to know more about the ecosystem and would like to just be a part of Intersect and the broader Cardano ecosystem. I will be posting this in our developer experience working group within the next 24 hours for all of you or whoever is interested to go and see and click and even play with it if you want. Thank you and goodbye. Sammy, Victor, if you have questions, Kayaba, Gideon, I can answer any questions. But feel free to go if you have nothing. Okay. Thank you, guys. Goodbye.